Hi, welcome to everyone. This is Change the Story. This is a series of live discussions that we are doing at Imaginners Circle. My name is Ashish Bhandari. And the big question that we are asking here is that amid this whole global pandemic that we are facing right now, our priorities are changing. The way we think, the way we interact with each other is going to change. Some things are going to change for a very, very long time because it's still very unclear uh, till how long will this last and how things will change. So here we are talking about this basic questions that how will the brands change their stories? Brand could be anything, could be a product, could be a service, could be an individual, could be an organization. How will they change their story? How will they change the way they communicate with their audience? So it's going to be a very, very lively series that we are doing here. Starting today, we have our first guest with us. He doesn't need much of an introduction. Let me introduce you to Kranti Sambhav. Kranti is a very, very senior journalist. He's an automotive journalist, to be specific, and he's had a very, very good stint with TV. Now with the digital platform, he's doing very well. Kranti joining us right now today, and we're going to have guests from all walks of life, from all fields, from the industry, from the social sector, from the entertainment sector, from the sports fraternity. So stay tuned. Kranti is here with us. Let me just quickly. Hi, Kranti. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Ashish. Morning, good, good. How are you? How are you doing? How's lockdown treating?
I'm good. I'm good. Everything absolutely safe and managing. Yes, like most of us, getting used to this whole social and personal change. So, Kranti, let me just start. The first thing that I'm going to ask you is that you've been in TV how many years? Some 30, 40 years, I guess.
60, 70 years. No, it is automotive. I'm
Okay,
doing for almost 19 years. Yes, almost 19 years automotive. Otherwise,
19 years,
TV.
almost 2 decades. Wow.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Guys, there is a serious bandwidth issue that is happening, totally unexpected, like the situation that we are facing right now. So, Kranti, I was asking you, you've spent a lot of time in TV, especially
Right.
automotive journalism, close to 19 years, you said. So, and now you're very active on the digital platform. How was this? How has this journey been from mainstream media to the digital?
Yeah, it was like action-packed, full action-packed journey because this storytelling I started doing long time back as far as new cars and motorcycles are concerned. So the storytelling, the way it happened, it changed. And initially, if we talk about a few years back, TV was the only destination when if you wanted to know anything about new cars, motorcycles, TV was the only destination. But gradually what happened, youngsters, they started moving to digital platforms and with cheaper internet services and all. So the whole audience base, it moved to digital, and that's what prompted me to look at this platform also. And even while working with TV, we were experimenting with so many different ways of storytelling, engagement, interactions, because basic difference, or the biggest difference between TV and digital for me was how on TV you feel that whatever you said is like the last word, and the interaction is not immediate. It's not.
Yes.
It's not, and it is very. It was very what you call sugar coated. But when you move to digital, it becomes pretty brutal at times. I mean, I'm not talking about trolls, but even genuine enthusiasts, they are pretty brutal. They are very honest, and they give you very honest and at times cruel feedback, and that helped me improve as journalist, as a storyteller, and that is the main difference which I thought happened between these two platforms, and that prompted me to get into this field, like 100%.
Okay, so coming back to this topic that we are discussing today, change the story. You followed this auto sector for a very, very long time, and you've seen the boom, and now you're seeing the phase where the curve has flattened a bit in terms of the growth. So, how do you see, and how do you see the brands, the auto brands, are changing their stories or are in the process of redesigning their communication? How are they doing it? Because right now, people's priorities are changed. Auto sector is comes in a totally different segment. People are thinking
Yes.
about more of a survival needs. So how is the auto sector taking this change?
So, you see those WhatsApp and Facebook posts and forwards when, look at the economy, when we stop buying non-essential goods, what happens to the economy? And that's what everyone is saying. And auto is obviously maybe number two, number three, maybe number four priority for anyone right now. And that is what we are seeing in our, interactions and viewerships, the numbers, people who are watching our stories. As far as the industry is concerned, industry has been shifting to digital anyway from last 4 5 years. We've seen what used to be one hygiene kind of communication as far as their marketing efforts or marketing pitch was concerned. They were spending minor, a very meager amount of or meager percentage of their marketing budget on online digital platforms. But now what has happened? That they are spending more on digital platforms. The ratio has increased. In favor of digital platforms. Plus, even if we talk about just the brands, what the, targeted marketing has helped them to penetrate the market. They are reaching the customers directly. And with coronavirus, I don't think that it has grown exponential, because this is what we have been seeing from last 2 years. Now, if you look at your screen and you see a product, the company knows that you're seeing that product, that color, that product, that variant, and they will start sending you updates on your social media timeline. So that kind of marketing has started. So their approach is very digital from last 2 3 years. And even buying decisions, when we make a decision, almost two-thirds of the whole decision process is online now. We are watching reviews, reviews videos on net. We are shortlisting the products on their websites. We are discussing, with our families. And last May, if you talk about third process or third stage would be when you go to the dealerships.
Okay, so coming back to the media part of it, because media obviously plays an important role in communicating any sort of change, be it the political change or a societal change. So, you having spent so much time understanding and mastering the art of communication, how do you think this media's role is going to be during this whole paradigm shift, if I can say? By that, what I mean is that how important do you think is for media to balance between just providing the information, or maybe in a way try to change the way people think?
What we are seeing right now, it is pretty complex. Complex because people want opinions. They want their whole ideas are pretty polarized, and they want opinions. They want people to take a stand, but at the same time they don't want to change their own thinking. So that's why this is pretty complex. They will come to you when they know that this is the kind of stand you're taking. So and that is not only about auto or anything. It is about any idea. If you look at our consumption, most of us are living in that thought bubble where we are clicking only those headlines which are somehow matching with our own idea. Second thing, what I'm seeing in this whole storytelling, that we have time, we have lots of time, we are spending so much of time on our smartphones or this, but at the same time we don't have patience for in-depth insightful stories. So that's why if you see, except for YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and other platforms, the whole story, the duration has changed. Even if you look at the websites, they first thing they mention 2 minute read, 5 minute read. So what has happened that the story biggest challenge right now is how to be more engaging within like maybe few seconds, and maybe half a minute or 1 minute, and you provide that information in concise yet impactful manner. That is the biggest challenge, I would say.
Kranti, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I am so sorry. This technology is not playing sport today.
That is the
First, it
biggest
was the
challenge.
bandwidth issue. Now my laptop crashed.
That is the biggest challenge right now.
I know. So, okay. So coming back to this question that we were asking you. this whole a lot of content that's being produced. How challenging do you think it is for somebody like you who's come from a mainstream media background? When the days when there were entry barriers for the media, there were obviously educational qualifications, big equipment setup, technical setup, and obviously you needed an organizational structure to be a part of the broadcast community. Now it's for everybody. Everybody is a broadcaster, everybody is a content creator. Some of them are really doing a very, very good job, and surprisingly good job, without any media background. People are creating fantastic content, but there is a lot of crowd as well. So how do you deal with it? How do you compete with this new generation, which was probably born
Look,
with a smartphone?
Ashish, as your header suggests, change the story. The story has actually changed, and that is what we have to understand if you are trying to move from traditional media to the digital media. Because what has happened, what we are used to, doing a story in the way in depth story, and we are conditioned to that school of thought where we need this kind of equipment, this kind of editing machine, this kind of background lights and camera, whatever, so that our stories are done in that manner. But at the same time, if you look at, I'm not sure if you connected or not, but just finish my point, I guess. Or yeah, are you back?
I'm here.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
here.
yeah.
This is a
So
technology thing that I'm doing.
so that's the biggest challenge, is that the story has actually changed, and that storytelling, the biggest challenge as far as this new medium is concerned is how you understand that the scale, the equipment, it or the what do you call, in the depth of the whole content, it doesn't guarantee that the product will be well received with people. So we were talking about technology. What has happened now, even with smaller stories, the content game has turned into a technology game. So if you look at the new content providers and new vloggers, bloggers, and they are working 24 hours. Okay, most of them, I mean the new ones I meet, I keep interacting with them, and they're really inspiring. Why? Because they are not only creating content, but they're doing marketing job, they're doing sales job, they're doing camera person job, they're doing editing, they're doing copy editing, they're doing graphics work, they're doing everything. And plus they want to be the top of the game. And when you want to become be top of the game, that this now what has happened, the biggest challenge or biggest thing to understand, the biggest mindset change for people like us to have, that this is not a content game anymore. It is about technology, and it is about how you understand that technology to reach, increase your reach. Because even if you have fantastic story on YouTube, nobody is going to watch it if you don't have the metadata, the headers, the thumbnails. The thumbnails have become so so important. So for coming back to our basic question, people like us who came from traditional media, when they want to get into new age media, I would say biggest change we have to make in our working is understanding, grasp, and utility of technology. We have to keep mugging that up, keep understanding that, and that is the biggest challenge I've seen in my contemporaries also. So many people are struggling with it because technology. For us also. Even I understand. I drive cars, but I was not too good with mobiles and those small gadgets. I didn't understand the basic, or even initially when Apple CarPlay or Android Auto came, I was not so small technology or detailed technology you have to understand, so that you understand the new age story game. I guess that's the biggest challenge.
Okay, so quoting a very famous dialogue that with greater power come greater responsibilities. So we have this whole power in our hands today, which is called the information technology, and the way things are moving, it's going to go even bigger in the coming time. So the world was never so connected, which is a very, very good thing. As you know, as we'll see the past 10, 20 years, we've seen this change. The world was never so connected. It was never so easy to communicate what you think, what you believe in, but this thing is being misused as well, or is being taken too far as well. What do you think your advice for the new content generators will be to act responsibly on the internet or create content which is productive, which is constructive?
Ashish, I'm a big believer in creative freedom. So I would not ask anyone to be, because that sense of responsibility, sense of understanding, sense of this thing is very. My parameter or barometer would be uh, intention. What are you trying to do and why are you trying to do? So I also feel that this is something which the we mainstream media had created certain kind of vacuum. Why do so many people on YouTube and social media creating content? Only because that media had left one vacuum, which is being filled by with these new storytellers. So I, whoever is coming into this field, only thing I would tell them, or my suggestion, जो मेरी understanding है अभी तक की, and that is that first you have to understand. First, you have to try to know yourself, know your limits, know your genre, know your branding, because that is going to help you grow. And B, how you can become like how you how can you can avoid being irresponsible is stick to one parameter, that is intention. Why are you trying to do that? Why are you trying to do this? You have to understand, and when you have that clarity, you would be like, because I'm as I said, I'm all game, I'm all for freedom of expression, freedom of creativity, but at the same time you also have to understand what's your intention behind it. So if you just want to get numbers, you just get clickbaity articles, and it will not last. I mean, after 6 months you'll be tired, you will stop creating, because the moment, because that kind of content, even I know so many people generate every day. We see it, we watch it for once or twice, whatever, and then you do not go back to that handle at all. So you people will not come to you. People will come only when you add value, and that value has to be very unique. What basically you stand for that value, and have very clear intention why you're doing this.
Again, apologies for the delay. Meanwhile, we
All right,
have a couple of questions from the viewers that are watching us.
let's
Would you
do
like
that.
to answer them?
Yeah, let's take them.
Yeah. So there's one from Abhishek saying, should there be a need to lay down media ethics for such content creators? Because by intentions, one may be interpreted in a totally different manner by others. So it's
I
subjective.
don't. It is, but media ethics is pretty subjective, because if you look at the content right now, so many stories. Even I tweet, or this. People, they write back saying that even this is happening, you should not talk about it. But thing is that reality is that that's what media is supposed to do. At times it will hit you. At times it will hurt you. At times it will just wake you up. But so in that case, yeah, lots of bad content is there, lots of so any mischievous effort should be I mean, for that we have lots of laws, but otherwise I don't think there should be one code or one governing rule for any media, for that matter. You should be, if you're right, if your intention is correct, and if you're working for greater good, I think you honor your own principle, your own stand is good enough.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So there is another question which probably was one of my questions as well. So Riddhi here is asking, post-COVID, do you think there will be a major drop in sales in the automotive industry as everybody is expecting, considering they might be planned work from home directive from many major companies, which is already happening. So how do you see auto industry taking this?
It's actually very complex, Riddhi, because what has happened is that when you look at the market, anyway, April, it can't go beyond zero. So, I mean, not that, because April, the whole sales figure, it was zero throughout. But when we talk about post-corona, there are two, three things which are, in play simultaneously. One, we are all experiencing and practicing social distancing, so that might might force us to go for our own private personal vehicles, maybe public transportation, Ola, Uber, pools, and those ride sharing things, they might not be that appealing. So we might see customers or car buyers going for a smaller car, maybe two wheelers. Whoever was using bus, maybe because of family pressure, to just to be cautious, they might go for cheaper or value for money products, maybe two wheelers and cars.
Yeah.
Second thing which is happening is so many people have lost jobs, and the economy is doing so bad. And recently we had this interview with Volkswagen chief, and he was also suggesting that we might see negative GDP. So in that scenario, we all will be very cautious to as far as car buying decision is concerned. So we might delay it. Third thing, one compromise would be used cars. So these three scenarios I'm looking at. Maybe the car sales won't shoot up, but there's so many people who are going to buy smaller cars for personal mobility. Personal mobility is coming back as far as social distancing is concerned. I think this is my reading. And third is used car. Many people will start going into that used car category, where so the numbers might not be like they won't fluctuate, but there will be some kind of growth, I think, in car buying.
Okay, so Kranti, before we let you go, a quick question about the auto industry. When we talk about, say, just give me a second, just give me a second.
Yes, yes.
Some people are still messaging about the technical delay that is happening.
No
So,
problem.
Kranti,
That's the
just to
beauty
wind up
of,
things, again, sticking to the auto industry.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry?
No, no, that's the beauty of digital. This thing we don't have to worry about. Uh,
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
stopping. Okay, they are with you.
You
Yeah.
know, once
Sorry.
in words of Ravish Kumar, once he said to me that, yeah, TV की औपचारिकता से बाहर निकलो. So I think, so I think वो टीवी की औपचारिकता अब नहीं रह गई है. So whatever is happening. Okay, so before we let you go, Kranti, any
Yeah.
interesting case studies that you've seen of late from the auto industry, by which companies are changing the way people communicate, the way they communicate their story as well? Any path breaking campaigns or communication thing that you've come across in the past 1.5 months?
What biggest change? I'm not. I won't call it like very interesting, but that is drastic change. During like even last 2 3 months, we have seen so many launches on social media only. So just before the lockdown was announced, Creta was launched, but Creta was launched in phased manner. We had like 10 15 journalists in 3 4 batches, and every time we shot the car, it was sanitized, and so that next journalist could shoot it. So that was again physical presence was there. But sometime back, I remember Ducati and Triumph, they launched their bikes on Twitter. But now what has happened, that has become kind of norm. Even tomorrow we might see BMW launching their new car. So that is very interesting, where you are launching the products online on Twitter, on Facebook, and Q&A session happening on social media. That is the most interesting thing which has happened, and it has kind of helped us as well. अपने ऑफिस में रहो, और you don't have to travel, you don't have to go through that Delhi traffic and reach maybe Aero City, uh, go to Aero City every second day of the week. And
Perfect.
I forgot to tell you about our story, because we were doing so many stories right now. Not many people are reading and watching auto content. So we have just started this campaign yesterday only, that donate your ride, where we are showcasing all the cars and bike lovers. They are doing so many things for the society, and so that was our way of connecting with all these enthusiasts who are not into buying decision right now, but they're still doing something. So that's how we keep, we're trying to experiment. That's what even the manufacturers are doing.
So tell me more about the donate your ride concept. I saw some of your posts. I'm yet to see the
Yeah.
Zoom video that you've done. It's on Kranti's profile, guys. It's a very interesting discussion that they've had. I'm yet to watch it. Can you just tell us more about it?
Yes, so we kick-started with lots of cars and bikes enthusiasts. We had like few riders or few drivers who generally enjoy their vehicles. Enjoy their vehicles in the sense they go out for weekend rides and drives, and we end up spending some money. So from last so many weekends, we are not going anywhere. So our idea was just to give it back for Corona victims and migrants and laborers, whoever you want to. So we haven't restricted it to donate it to some platform. What we have done is you try and contribute in your own way. If, that money, whatever you're saving or trying to make for the victims, and we will showcase your story. So yesterday we got fantastic story. One of the riders is doing is feeding almost 30,000 people, almost daily, I guess. So he's got good big truck and all, and he is like very enthusiastic, very passionate biker, and he's feeding almost 30,000 people. We have one story from Mumbai where young kids, they started say they washed the cars, colony mein jitne bhi the, and they made some money for the security guards who were staying. So this kind of car and bike, lovers who are obviously saving some money on their weekend, but at the same time they want to contribute also. So that's what we are trying to do with this Donate Your Ride campaign.
Wow. So basically, in whatever capacity you can, so auto lovers or auto enthusiasts have मतलब उनकी जिंदगी में यही है तो
बिल्कुल,
उसमें से कुछ एक पार्ट जो a chunk of it keeping aside for this kind of absolutely fantastic concept, Kranti. We're getting a few questions. If the technology permits, I'm going to quickly take them. एक बार में थोड़ा सा बता देते हैं, and then we can wind up. So there's one question about how the sales of Chinese automotive brands in India. I'm not sure how this.
They're doing okay.
So this business with China is going to affect.
I don't. That's a very usual question. What is happening there, right? Also because of coronavirus, because everyone thought that has that might have negative impact on the Chinese car companies. I'm not too sure about that, because this is something which the sentiment which comes and goes. We have seen cars are not like Chinese lights or small pichkari from China, where these are products which, if they are not good, people won't buy it. Right. So and it's not that they can if you're getting good deal. I mean, most of them they are producing in India. The brand is Chinese. The brand is German, British, whatever it is. The thing is that they are producing in India. So that way they are also Indian cars that way. But the sentiment, this is the question which I'm getting these days. Usually, I'm not seeing huge impact on the cars only because their brand is Chinese. I don't think that will happen. What will happen is that if the product is not good, obviously people will not buy it.
So that holds true for every sector, every geographical. So Kranti, before we end this discussion here, just one word from you for all those who are watching or all those who will watch this. How important do you think these days? We are talking about digital media. We're talking about getting online, being there, being visible. How important is, but there's still a lot of business houses, there's still a lot of small time companies which are not very sure of their digital presence. They are there, they have their pages made, but the content is not there because they are not sure. ठीक है, interact कर लेंगे usual media से, आपस में बातचीत करके, calls करके. But now, do you think they will think seriously about being digital, being there and producing content, especially when it comes to communicating with their audience?
So you're talking about brands, or you're talking about individuals?
I'm talking about individuals are also brands. So I'm talking about general. I'm talking about mainly small businesses. So if you say if there is a business which is catering to only Delhi NCR, they don't think the need to go to traditional media platforms to advertise their products and services, but they might find digital very, very useful.
Yes, Ashish, I agree with you. And thing is that they will do that. Why? Because I've also seen so many people now. Few of my colleagues, few of my friends, they are working on that kind of model where they have decentralized everything, and they are making content for those small business houses, small shop owners. I've seen them talking about that because they have understood the internet game, the digital media story. But they have also understood that the new platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything is working for them. So they have understood, and I guess they will engage with digital media more. They will start making content for digital media more. And I don't think it can only be because of Corona, because this shift I've seen from last 5 6 months. That's like a very exponential growth in this kind of media consumption and media production.
Thank you so much, Kranti, for taking out time for this discussion
Right.
of with Change the Story. A little placard on the right of the screen showing what is coming next. Kranti, thank you so much for your time. So I'm sure a lot of people who are watching got their answers. If not, please keep them coming. Please message. Okay.
Yeah, sure, Ashish. Thanks. So, what I'll do, I guess your internet is acting up again. I'll say bye bye on your behalf. And thanks for joining, guys.